Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video where I'm going to talk about a newly shown figure from Hot Toys, and this time it is the Rise of Skywalker Kylo Ren. So I've been very excited for this new figure to be shown, really anticipating it, and I'm a big Kylo Ren fan. Kylo Ren's my favorite character of the new series, and to be honest, might be just my favorite Star Wars character altogether. But I'm a big fan of Kylo Ren, and I have both of the other Kylo Rens that have been produced from The Force Awakens as well as The Last Jedi, and I've been really interested to see how this one would look and to see if there was going to be a new head sculpt. That was the big question, and there is, which I'm very happy about. So let's go over the figure. I'll also do a little comparison between this one and the Last Jedi one, because they are very similar. But let's talk about it. So overall, from what I can tell, it's mainly a kind of a re-release of the Last Jedi one with two new head sculpts. That's basically it, to be honest, which I'm disappointed about. I hope that there was more differences than the Last Jedi one, but there's really not many. The cape is almost identical to in its design. The only exception to this is that there is a hood section now attached to it, and yet they don't have any pictures with him with the hood up. I seriously doubt that he doesn't wear the hood in the film, considering if he didn't, they probably wouldn't have, put it on his cape, as well as, like, the Black Series figure comes with two hood pieces, one so you can display it down, and one so you can display it up. So I imagine that he wears the hood in the movie, and that would be one way to make this figure look even more different than the Last Jedi one, and yet there's not a single photo with him with the hood up. So I'm hoping that with the hood up it looks good, and I'm really hoping that it's not like the hood's permanently attached down or anything like that. That would be super disappointing. But yeah, so I do find that odd to have a new, like, one of the few new things about the figure you don't actually display. I think that's kind of odd. The face sculpt, that's the main thing I want to talk about here. The face sculpt, when I originally saw it, I went, ooh, that looks really bad. And then, like, it took me maybe a couple minutes to get used to it, and now I think it looks good. It's very strange. Like, I've had that reaction with some Hot Toys, but usually it takes months, or maybe even me getting in person to change my mind, or to kind of come around to it. But for me, it was like I saw it, my gut reaction was like, ooh, that's not good. But the more that I look at it, even just after a couple minutes, the more that I'm like, no, I think that is a good sculpt. So I'll be interested to see what the general public thinks of this head sculpt, considering it was such a stark reaction for myself. My original thought when I first saw it was that he looked old. Like, too old, obviously. And in looking at it more, I don't see that as much. I kind of see what I thought I saw as kind of oldness. There's a lot of detailing in the face, and I think that detail from extremely close-up angles, has the tendency to make him look a little older, because there's a lot of lines around his mouth and kind of by his neck and things like that. But I'm thinking that in person, that won't look that way at all, because you'll be looking at it from a decent angle. It also almost looks like his hair's a little white, but again, I think that's just kind of the lighting that they put on it too, because obviously they didn't paint his hair white. So overall, I think that in person this will look like a good head sculpt. And these photos now, after looking at them for some time, I'm liking the head sculpt a lot more. It is completely new, which is great. Nothing's been reused on it, and the hairstyle is extremely different from The Last Jedi. So I'll do a little comparison on them. But before I compare these two Ren figures, let's just show you what he comes with. I'm kind of disappointed by this, to be honest. I definitely could see a lot more for him to come with, but he really comes with everything that every Kylo Ren figure in the past has come with from Hot Toys. You get a helmet, you get the lightsaber, you get the standard base, and you get the standard hands, not even a new hand, which is really disappointing. I like the one Force hand that's very aggressive, but I'd like one that was a little more, almost relaxed, but still using the Force, kind of like the Vader choking type of hand, something like that. I would have really liked, but unfortunately he doesn't come with it. And considering this is our third go-around, you think that they'd add a couple new hands to kind of incentivize people to purchase another one, things like that. But unfortunately they didn't. The helmeted head sculpt I think is really cool. I was originally hoping that, or thinking that it might light up like in the cracks, because I think that would look really neat. But obviously it wouldn't necessarily be lit up in the movie. However, it would kind of just be illuminating just because of the color. It does look very neat though. I do like it. And then in a lot of these photos he's holding the lightsaber backwards, which we see him do in the trailer when he's walking towards Rey on the Death Star. He does flip his lightsaber backwards like this. I don't know if this is like a new move for him or something, because oh, we also see him using it when he kills that guy on that planet that's red, in the trailer. So I guess he's got a kind of a new general like stance with his weapon, which I think is kind of neat, that his kind of lightsaber skills or preferences kind of evolve for the films. So it's neat to see him like representing it here in the figure form. But again, as far as what he comes with, it's very basic. I would have liked the main accessory that I would like is the kind of crushed Darth Vader helmet. That was something that obviously made an appearance in The Force Awakens, and something that I wanted this figure, or the figure for The Force Awakens, to come with, and it didn't. And it's going to be making a return in this movie. We do see it in the trailer, so I would have loved that to come with him, especially if they like gave you a little podium for it to sit on. I think that would have been a really nice new accessory. And again, this figure is so similar to this figure, the Last Jedi one, that I would have thought that they'd try to make it a little bit more different by offering some extra accessories. But unfortunately, they didn't, not at all, which is a shame. As you can see, the head sculpts are totally different. On first glance, the Last Jedi head sculpt does not look that good in these preview images. Now, I do have the figure in person. I got it not that long ago, and it looks really good in person. I really like the head sculpt a lot. But in the photos here, the new one looks a lot better, I think. And that is something that, like, that's really the only draw for this figure, is the new head sculpt. And then the new cracked helmet is neat too, but the new head sculpt is really the big thing for me, I think. But as you can see, the cape looks identical in both its kind of in its structure, as far as in its kind of thinness and material, as well as in the design of it. It looks very similar as well. It must be new to some degree because it has a hood on it, though. But I believe it's just the hood that's been attached, essentially. I don't think that the pattern is actually different at all. It might be, but for the most part, it's identical in its design. And then as far as the torso, like the clothing, it's identical. It really is. There's nothing new on it. Same thing with the pants and boots. Now, I can't necessarily like fault Hot Toys for doing this, because obviously if he doesn't change his costume between movies, there's nothing Hot Toys can do. So I don't mind Hot Toys not changing it because the costume stays the same. However, that's when you introduce new accessories to incentivize people who already purchased the original one to buy this new one, and they didn't, which is really annoying considering like I can think of accessories that they can give them. So that is definitely a bummer, I will say. The Last Jedi Kylo Ren is still in stock on Sideshow's website, so I'm hoping that maybe that will mean that this figure won't be that expensive. I don't know. I'm certainly hoping that this new Kylo Ren figure should not be any more expensive than The Last Jedi, because literally it's the same figure. You get the exact same things with it. Like, I'm trying to think here, but I think it's literally, you get the exact same things. You get the helmet, you get the face sculpt, you get the same lightsabers, the same hands, the same shaped base. It's identical. It really is. So, if this is any more expensive than the Last Jedi one, that's just ridiculous in my opinion, because there's nothing to warrant that at all. And if the Last Jedi one isn't even sold out, I don't see why you would up the price, other than just to be rude. So, personally, I'm hoping that the price stays the same. If not, maybe goes down a little bit, just because they realize that it's, mainly a kind of re-release with a couple extra accessories, or a couple just newly sculpted head and helmet, essentially, because it's not like you get any new accessories with it. So overall, I'm somewhat disappointed by this. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that they did a new head sculpt, and it's a head sculpt that I think is pretty good after further examination. However, you just don't get a whole lot with him, and I think that you should definitely get some new accessories, considering there's certainly accessories to give him. There's not like you can't think of anything new or anything like that. There's certainly accessories to go with them. And, obviously that's without even seeing the new film. I'm sure once we see the new film, we might have one or two more accessories that we, think should have gone with this figure. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Whether I plan to get it or not, again, I have The Force Awakens as well as The Last Jedi one, and he's very similar to The Last Jedi one. I think just on regular retail, I probably won't get this, although I do want it, mainly because I'm such a big Kylo Ren fan. I would love to have Kylo Ren's, evolution through Hot Toys for all three films. However, I don't think I can warrant, a full-price Hot Toy that's the same thing just with a new head sculpt, basically. I just don't think I can do that. But on a sale, on a discount, on secondhand from somebody that's cheaper, I would be totally into it. I'd also like to see the hood be used, because if I'm going to display him, I'd probably display him with the hood up, just because I want to make him look as different as possible to the Last Jedi one. So yeah, overall I really do like this figure. I think that it's lacking in what it comes with though, but I'm excited to see it. So here you go. That's my thoughts on the new Kylo Ren figure. I'm very much anticipating the rest of the series for the last or for the Rise of Skywalker. The other figure that I would really want from the Rise of Skywalker is probably going to be the Emperor. We don't quite know the Emperor's new look in this film, but man, I would love a Hot Toys of it. So yeah, so let me know what you guys think of this new Star Wars Rise of Skywalker Hot Toys figure, and thanks so much for watching.